Maria is not here today. Instead, it's little Ginger Riding Hood from another dimension, here to talk about fragrances that I would wear with certain Halloween costumes. Okay, not really. I'm really excited to do fragrances paired with certain Halloween looks that are typical for women. So I'm so excited to do this. When I was growing up, one of the things that I loved doing the most was dressing up. I dressed up a lot all the time. Like us kids, we always kind of had costumes that we would dress up in. But I definitely enjoyed also dressing up for Halloween. And we didn't ever have bought-in costumes. We made our own costumes. That was the thing. You never bought a costume back in the day. So I loved, my favorite part was doing the makeup. So I'd make myself look like an old lady, or, you know, make myself look like a mermaid. I did a cat, I've done a deer, and I really enjoy doing that kind of thing. Today it's just tame because I just didn't have time to do anything, but I got myself a little bit of kind of wild eye makeup at least. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community, and let's get into this. So the first costume, and I'll try to put up kind of an example of all the costumes on the screen, but the first costume that I think is super popular these days and super easy to do, honestly, is a deer. If I were to dress up for Halloween as a deer, the fragrance that I would choose is Santal Royal by Guerlain. Now the reason why is this has a beautiful sandalwood note with some spices in it. It's deep, it's rich, it's a little bit dark, smoky, sexy, and I just think it's perfect for, like, just thinking about a deer, you know, prancing through the woods at night. This perfume would be perfect for it. So yeah, I would definitely wear Santal Royal, and I'm gonna try and give you guys some analogies on where I'm going and why I think a perfume smells the way it is. So I hope you're ready for some imagination. Now the next costume that I think is really quite popular for women is dressing up like a mermaid. So, you know, you've got your weird tendrils going on, and you've got your scales, and they're likely blue or pink or green or a mixture of all of those. And you just look like Ariel or something a little bit more ethereal. The fragrance I would choose is Olympia Intense. Now the reason why I chose this one was because of the salt note. And to me, this smells like a sea goddess. So you're not just a mermaid. You are the queen of all mermaids. You would be beside Poseidon or whoever it is that's the king of the sea. If you're wearing this, you are the queen of the sea. So this has amber, vanilla, and salt. So what you get is kind of a warm amber, very sweet, very syrupy, with a salt note in it. Now the salt is fairly strong. But it beautifully balances that vanilla and that amber. So instead of it being cloying, it smells just super sensual. It smells like skin that's been, you know, in the ocean and then been warming in the sun. And you know that smell, like that kind of sweet, delicious smell. That's kind of what this one is. So I think it's perfect for a mermaid queen, and it matches my coat. Anyway, yes, Olympia Intense. If you're dressing up as a sweet, innocent princess this Halloween, like I'm thinking Snow White, where she's like, like that kind of thing, you would wear Wonderland Peony. This is the happiest of all fragrances. It's sweet, there's red berries in it, there's cotton candy, there's a bit of cedar that kind of gives it a little bit of grounding. But there's red berries in here. I think there's raspberry in here. It's just a sweet cotton candy, kind of almost a fluffy fragrance that I think is absolutely gorgeous. It smells very innocent, very flirty, very happy, and yeah, perfect for the innocent, darling princess. Now, if you're that beautiful, strong, warrior type princess, I'm thinking Elsa, you know, Elsa or Mulan or some sort of like powerful princess, you are going to wear Elie Saab's Le Parfum Royal. This is gorgeous. It's just so delectable. It's orange, it's rose, it's got some spices in there somehow. It just smells absolutely intoxicating. It's very feminine, but it's powerful femininity. Where Wonderland Peony is girly and sweet and innocent, this one is powerful. Like, you don't mess with this princess. This princess doesn't like wait for her prince to come, because she doesn't need a prince by her side to be a princess. She just is. She rocks it, and she's gonna rule the world, man. She does not need that guy. So that if you're that type of princess, you're gonna wear Le Parfum Royal by Elie Saab. If you decide to dress up as a witch, now unfortunately when I think of witch, I don't think of Elvira wearing the black outfit. I think of the creepy green witch from Dorothy in Wizard of Oz. She scared me so bad. In grade 1 for the end of the year, we watched Wizard of Oz. It was one of the most beautiful movies I'd ever seen. It wasn't black and white. It was so colorful, and I was just mesmerized by the color. I loved Dorothy's little ruby red slippers. Like, they were so beautiful. But that witch was the scariest thing on the planet to me. It gave me nightmares, not to mention the creepy monkeys. Like, I could not handle it as a kid. But anyway, when I think of witch, I think of my pretties, like from that, or from Hansel and Gretel, like the really creepy crone type witch. That's what I think of. So a lot of times those witches, they turn themselves into some beautiful, spectacular thing to reel you in, and then they melt back into their creepy selves. So when they're in their beautiful stage, and they're always like slightly provocative and like a villain still, but you know what I mean, I would wear Marc Jacobs Decadence. This is beautiful. It's rich, it's decadent, it's got plum in it, there's vanilla, but there's this greenness in there. So as rich and kind of delicious as it smells, there's something in it that smells just slightly off. So I happen to like it, and it's that green note. But for a witch, like that's in her beautiful, like enchantress type mode, this is perfect because it smells good, but slightly gross. So that greenness is kind of a hint of the evil that lurks underneath. So she would wear this in her enchantress persona. She would have decadence on. But if she's in her crone stage, like I thought, like again, all I think of is Snow White and the apple, or like, you know, and they're always kind of coming up like this to hand some beautiful innocent, some creepy poisonous thing. So anyway, I instantly thought of an apple, and I know poison would be the normal one to pick, but then I started looking through the poison line, and Tendre Poison, I never smelt it, but it has this creepy note in it that I had to tell you about. The note is called Asafoetida. Now that name is not creepy. But the other names for it are creepy, and I thought it was perfect for an old crony witch. So the names are Devil's Dung, Hing, Ting, or Stinking Gum. Like, first of all, that rhymes. Devil's Dung, Hing, Ting, or Stinking Gum. It sounds like it could be a spell almost. Devil's Dung, Hing, Ting, Stinking Gum. Like, it's perfect for an old crone witch. Now that smell is bizarrely in Tendre Poison. What's crazy about it is when I first saw the note, it looks like caramel, and so that's actually why I pressed on it, to find out that it's Devil's Dung. And the scent profile of this thing is like onions or leeks, so it stinks on top of it. So I thought, what better note to be in a perfume than Devil's Dung? So that's why I picked Tendre Poison. If you smelt it, tell me if it's nice, because I think it's discontinued and nobody can get it anymore. It got really high reviews, so I'm sure it doesn't smell like it sounds, but in any case, all I can think of as soon as I heard that was the crone. So if you're being a crone of a witch, go with Tendre Poison. Now, we can't leave out the zombie, because really, you know, zombies are so popular. What is our fascination with zombies anyway? I don't get it. They're creepy. I don't have any sort of a desire to see zombie shows, watch zombie shows. Like, it's always mania. Like they're always trying to eat you, and it just creeps me right out. So I'm not into it. But as I've said before, Black Orchid is definitely our dead zombie queen smell. It smells slightly good, but rotten at the same time. So, you know, you see those zombies in the movies and you see them from the back and they look all beautiful or whatever, and then they turn around and their faces are all like, you know, half eaten or missing. That's this fragrance. So there's something in it that's alluring, kind of sensual, a little bit sexy, and then just death and decay from the indolic aspects of this. So perfect for the zombie. I've mentioned it before. This is going to be my zombie fragrance forever. Absolutely. Okay, now taking it a little bit lighter, if you're a clown, and I'm not talking about the clown from It, because I can't even stand to look at that thing. And to be honest, clowns creep me out too. Like, even normal happy clowns creep me out. Actually, anyone that wears any sort of a mascot type thing where I can't see your face, I'm creeped out by. I just can't stand it. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies. But the fragrance that I would choose if I was a clown would be ZUCCHERO FILATO by Kais Perfumes. Now, as I've said a million times, I want to keep saying it because people miss out on the coupon. There's a 20% off coupon code that you can use at any time in my description. I don't make anything off of Kais. I just really like their fragrances. So this is red berries, sponge sugar, candy floss. It smells totally like the pink candy floss that you eat at the fair. So to me, a clown, even their hair kind of looks like candy floss half the time. So I thought ZUCCHERO FILATO was perfect. So if I were to go as an alien, you can be like the cool, like really dramatic, beautiful aliens. But the alien that I thought of was that alien from Guardians of the Galaxy, where she's got those weird little antennas like this, and she's slightly bizarre. The fragrance I chose for that kind of alien is Ganymede. Now, this is the most bizarre fragrance of all times. Like, it smells like kind of sexy, but it smells otherworldly. So it smells kind of like ether somehow, or like, you know, vinyl, like a new airplane, like the air in an airplane, if the airplane was new, and you can kind of smell the upholstery, or some people think it smells like new sneakers. There's just the weirdest kind of chemically bizarro smell, but it's somehow quite sexy at the same time. So Ganymede, totally otherworldly, very, very unique, and perfect for an alien. Another costume that I think is really popular for girls is being a fairy. There's your fairy princess type of fairy, where she, you know, I think again of Wizard of Oz with Glenda, I think her name was. Glenda. She kind of creeped me out too, because she was like, oh, ba, 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 la, la, la. And it was just kind of a little bit creepy, but hello, what can I do for you? And her voice was really high, and it was still weird. Anyway, that kind of a fairy princessy type creature, I would put them in Baccarat Rouge 540. To me, that is kind of a delicate, sweet, airy fragrance, but there's still some sort of substance to it. Perfect for that kind of fairy. Now, if you're going as kind of a Tinkerbell type fairy, one of those kind of quirky fairies that's super tiny and is just kind of flitting from here or there, a little bit mischievous, but always kind of in the flowers in the garden, that kind of fairy. I guess they'd be called a garden fairy. Definitely FLORABOTANICA. You have to wear this one. First of all, this fragrance to me is kind of otherworldly. In fact, it's so beautiful. I'm going to put it on because I haven't worn it in a while. This fragrance is stunning. It has mint and there's some greenness in it. It smells kind of grassy. There's some cannabis in here, but it comes across more like just a beautiful, just kind of a beautiful greenness. And then as that kind of dries down, it's like it opens up into this beautiful rose. So to me, it's just the thought of like a little fairy kind of riding on the dewdrops and then kind of, you know, flitting back and forth on maybe a dragonfly or something, smelling the dew everywhere, smelling the green leaves, and then all of a sudden landing on this beautiful new rose that just begins to open up. and then she climbs into the rose and she has a little sweet nap enveloped in the beautiful smell of rose. That would be this fragrance. So this is perfect for your garden variety fairy. Now there's also your evil queen. I'm thinking along the lines of Snow White and the Huntsman. So Charlize Theron and that kind of a evil queen. So she's very regal and amazing, kind of like the Enchantress Witch part, but the fragrance I chose for her is Alien, partially because the bottle to me totally looks like an evil queen. Like this bottle, like with the, you know, I just think of like Maleficent or something with her weird cape on. So yeah, for whatever reason, Alien, it's amber woods, sweet, sexy, sensual. This fragrance has been around forever. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just really, it's got lots of jasmine in it. It's got that amber, the woods. It's so uber sexy to me, and it's perfect for the evil queen. And really, like, just imagine this weird headgear. Like if this were an evil queen costume, can you see it? Like this being some weird gold regalia on the top of her head, metallic on the sides of her cloak, and then everything being enveloped in purple. And she's likely got a purple kind of round thing around her face, because that's what evil queens do. You get the picture. Like evil queen, definitely Alien. If you're going as an elf, and when I think elf, I think Lord of the Rings type elf, very elegant, very regal, I'd wear Amethyst. I always think of elves whenever I smell this because it smells slightly otherworldly again. It's got this green quality with these underripe berries, no sugar smell to it. I don't find any sweetness in this. So it just smells refreshing. It smells like the woods after it's rained and you're walking on a bed of moss and then you're picking blackberries as you go along. That's kind of the vibe that I get with this. So you're smelling the stems, the leaves, the rain, the berries, all of that in this. And so it's just absolutely gorgeous. Even the glass work on here has kind of vines and berries. Totally gives me that feel. So if I were going as an elf, I'd be wearing Amethyst by Lalique. The last costume would be as a pirate. Pirate is one of my favorite things to dress up as because technically I kind of wished that I was a pirate. I don't know why, but I just have always, actually, I know why. It's because I read way too many kind of racy romance novels as a kid. Oh dear, that's so humiliating. I love dressing up as a pirate because basically I love the sleeves. Like I love the sleeves on those kind of blouses. So to me, that's the coolest costume. Plus I love swords and kind of wish I was a pirate. So if I were a pirate, I would wear Black Phantom by Kilian. Now this is such an intoxicatingly rich, sensual fragrance. Now, I don't have the original Black Phantom, but I do have the Perfume Parlor version, which is called Noir Illusions. This is just literally decadent. It's got chocolate, caramel, and rum in the opening. I definitely get that chocolate caramel rum vibe for sure. It's also got coffee, sugar, and almond, and I definitely get that hit of coffee, and it's more of a dark coffee. And then there's also sandalwood and heliotrope. So this just smells rich, decadent, a little bit boozy. It smells a little bit like tobacco, but like a chocolatey tobacco. So I just think this one's uber sexy, very unisex. But when I think about like a woman pirate, she's gonna be a little bit more formidable. So to me, this is gorgeous. It's a very sexy fragrance and I just absolutely love it. So I'd like to get Black Phantom by Kilian. But for now, the Noir Illusions by Perfume Parlors is awesome. So those are my fragrances for all sorts of different costumes. Do you dress up for Halloween? If you do, what fragrance are you gonna wear? And other than that, I hope you have an amazing week and we'll talk to you soon.